Hello and welcome. I am Mosmi Singh coming to you live from Mykolaiv in war zone Ukraine. The Russian invasion is raging on for more than 50 days. But there is one man who's standing up to Vladimir Putin. It is Volodymyr Zelinsky.
Weathered by war but still standing, reclaiming and rebuilding, leading Ukraine's fight back. Zelensky uncensored.
The world's eyes are on one man, Volodymyr Zelinsky. Actor turned politician, Zelensky has led Ukraine by example. He has won some, he has lost some. But as Russians continued to pound city after city, he has managed to regain them. He's even forced a de-escalation of the Russian forces. What will Zelensky do next? That's the big question everyone's asking.
This picture says it all. President Volodymyr Zelensky, weathered by the war, his face shadowed by the destruction on his country. Unlike the Russian president, whose war machine has spent the last month and a half on his territory, Zelensky remains firmly in view, appearing in public daily, broadcasting to the world, and being heard. Zelensky's campaign for global help has resulted in some gains. A Russian course correction and de-escalation. Huge diplomatic support from NATO, the European Union and the West. And a military that has been flooded with more advanced weaponry than Ukraine could ever have dreamed of. But it has also forced Zelensky, for all his high-profile grandstanding, to rethink most of his original strategies. NATO membership is practically off the table. The rebel areas of Ukraine are up for negotiation. And Zelensky is repeatedly seeking a summit with the man who wants him toppled from the presidency. But as Zelensky navigates what could be the bigger and more destructive phase of the war, he has crushing and immediate questions to answer. The grinding conflict that has raised so many of Zelensky's cities to the ground is now a terrifying burden on Zelensky's next moves. Who will repair and resurrect Ukraine's destroyed landscape? As his nemesis gets set for the most brutal assaults in eastern Ukraine, what more will Zelensky need to give up to get Russia to stop? These are the questions that deepen the lines on Zelensky's face. A wartime president faces an existential crisis, both personally and for the integrity of his country. Bureau Report, India Today.
The Russian invasion of Ukraine has sent President Zelensky's ratings soaring from a whooping 90% as opposed to a 21% before the war. Importantly, despite facing several challenges to remain in power before the war and in the past, President Zelensky's image has gone a complete makeover, making him a poster boy for Ukrainian patriotism.
The war in Ukraine has entered phase 2, and one would wonder if there is any hope left for Ukraine at this point. Well, it appears the world has shown immense faith in Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelinsky. Yes, the war has catapulted Zelensky's approval ratings to a whopping 90%, as opposed to the 21% before the Russian invasion began. In fact, during his presidential campaign, Zelensky had received a healthy 73% in support, but all that hype evaporated quickly. Ukrainian citizens were looking for change, which is why they voted out incumbent President Petro Poroshenko. Volodymyr Zelensky was fresh and a new alternative to the old elites. His unconventional image worked in his favor, winning him the presidency. But Zelensky's hype nosedived by 2020 and his approval ratings suffered a scathing dip. In 2021, his approval ratings dropped to 24.7%. People's trust in him fell because around the time Pandora Papers revealed that Zelensky was amongst those world leaders who held offshore companies. This was in direct contrast with his anti-establishment and anti-corruption crusader image. However, Zelinsky tried justifying himself, claiming those companies were established only to defend his businesses in Ukraine. Besides, there were several election promises that Zelinsky failed to deliver. Zelinsky was also widely criticized for deepening his alliance with the far-right neo-Nazi forces in Ukraine, especially when news broke out of his involvement with convicted criminal Serhiy Stanenko and how Zelinsky tried to crown him as chief of Ukraine's security service. But now that's a tale of the past. Zelinsky has got a whole new image makeover. He's now viewed as a glorious, brave and a gallant president of the embattled country. He risked his life staying in Ukraine, survived assassination attempts and has been consolidating support for Ukraine, staying on the front lines day on day. Zelinsky now is truly the poster child of Ukrainian patriotism, trying to fend off the Russian invasion. Bureau Report, India Today.
Of course, the invasion has taken a toll on President Zelensky. The biggest indicator are the lines on his face. A stand-up comedian has traded his official attire for olive green t-shirts.
A clean-shaven President Zelensky in his suit and tie addressed his nation on February 22nd amid gathering Russian war clouds. Weeks later, dressed in an army jacket, a bulletproof vest, an unkempt beard, and often sporting a bulletproof army helmet, this is President Zelensky reinventing himself, changing his attire as per the need to lead his nation locked in a fierce fight back. The war has taken a toll on the sartorial sense of President Volodymyr Zelinsky, transforming a suave, urbane and nattily dressed president in a tailored suit into a wartime president in combat fatigue, battle-ready and boosting the morale of his forces.
Ukraine is defending and would not give its freedom, whatever they think in Moscow. Russia cowardly attacked our country early in the morning, very much like the Nazi Germany did during the Second World War.
Presidents
do not usually write down addresses like this. But today, I have to say just that. To talk about the discoveries in Bucha and other cities from where the occupiers were expelled. Hundreds of people tortured, killed, and civilians executed. Bodies on the street. Booby-trapped areas. Even the bodies of the dead are booby-trapped. Widespread aftermath of looting. Concentrated evil has visited our land. The killers, executioners, rapists, murderers who call themselves an army and who deserve only death after what they have done.
Zelensky has also traded his suit for a plain green round-neck t-shirt, popular with soldiers ever since Russia waged war on Ukraine. From addressing the United Nations, the US Congress, the EU Parliament and the Grammys, the wartime president Zelensky's dressing sense has made him a cult figure for those who back Ukraine, sending a message that the wartime president is leading from the front.
The UN system must be reformed immediately so that the right of veto will not become the right of a death, so that there is a fair representation of all world regions in the Security Council.
Zelensky's military round-neck t-shirt has become a fashion trend as well, making it popular for t-shirt motif across the world. The change in appearance for a president is usually that of graying hair, but Zelensky's transformation shows how times are tough for Ukraine. And what can be a better symbol of hope and strength than an olive green shirt-clad president who switches into combat dress in solidarity? A connect between the president and the army fighting for the motherland. Choosing the most accessible government around, Zelensky's message is clear. He's in solidarity with Ukrainians. Bureau Report, India Today.
As the Ukrainian president is leading from the front, his wife is firmly standing by him. Extremely influential Olena has taken to social media to motivate Ukrainians to fight back Russia.
As the world watches Ukraine and Russia taking center stage, along with Russian President Putin, is President Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine. Former comic stepping up in true statesman-like fashion to defend his homeland. In a series of public messages, Zelensky garnering world admiration, choosing to stay put in Ukraine, calling himself as Russia's target number 1 and his family, his wife, and their 2 children, target number 2. But who is his wife? The First Lady of Ukraine. She is Olena Zelenska, 44, screenwriter by profession and classmate of Zelensky. Once opposed to her husband's political aspiration, she now his closest ally, by his side in hiding, refusing to leave the country or her husband. Widely popular, Zelenska, whose English is flawless, is considered one of Ukraine's most influential women. A fashion icon in her country, she has been the cover girl of many fashion magazines. Like her husband, she has rooted her social media presence with a 2 million following on Instagram to speak with the people of her country in these war-torn times. On the 1st of March, when Kharkiv was facing the full brunt of Russian assault and capital Kyiv was bracing for a massive Russian military operation, Olena saluted the women of Ukraine with this post. In another Instagram post, on 25th February, she wrote, alongside an image of an Ukrainian flag, she said, "My dear people, Ukrainians, I am looking at you all today. Everyone I see on TV, on the streets, on the internet, I see your posts and videos. And you know what? You are incredible. I'm proud to live with you in the same country. Today, I will not have panic and tears. I will be calm and confident. My children are looking at me. I will be next to them and next to my husband and with you. I love you. I love Ukraine." In another post of a picture of a baby born in a Kyiv shelter, she wrote, "We are the army. The army is us. And children born in bomb shelters will live in a peaceful country that has defended itself." While Ukraine marks one of its worst chapters in history, no matter what the outcome of this war, in decades from now, the sepia-tinted images of the first couple of Ukraine will always be revered as the brave, gritty ones who did their people, their land proud. Bureau Report, India Today.
It's a war between nations, one army attacking, the other defending. But beyond the sound and gore of war that tots up victory in human bodies, there's also a clash of personalities. Personalities painstakingly created by these leaders. The world has also politically aligned to these personas. One is a personality of Vladimir Putin, the strong man of Russia. And on the other hand, you have President Zelensky, the defender of freedom.
The other has become stronger by the day. The one has at his command one of the most powerful militaries that the world has ever known. The other has become the most powerful symbol of military resistance. One is likened to strong leaders going back over 100 years, whose actions destabilized Mother Russia. The other is also likened to wartime leaders of Europe going back nearly a century. The one is Vladimir Putin, the aggressor. The other is Volodymyr Zelinsky, the defender. If only this were a computer game. But it is not, and lives are being lost at every instance. As one man pushes his army to invade, destroy, and kill. And the other man pushes back. Pushes back against the invader. Pushes the conscience of the world to help him keep alive the freedom of choice.
Ми боремося.
If only this were history from the past. If only this were not terrible history in the making. He has become Synecdoche, a minuscule Russian who has made himself represent the whole of it. Volodymyr Zelinsky, in his third year in office, is no longer the comedian he was. He has grown in importance far beyond the boundaries of his beleaguered country. Zelinsky, in his military t-shirt, is a symbol too. Zelinsky is resistance, a rallying call for 41 million Ukrainians. Zelinsky too is a synecdoche, where the whole of Ukraine is represented in its one single minuscule part.
War rages on as invaders from across the border try to run over Ukraine. The one objective of the Russian forces is to get rid of a man who has managed to rally his country to stand up and fight. President Zelensky is an unlikely wartime hero, an unassuming leader of a country caught under siege. A puny David who is fighting against the Russian Goliath of a bully. Yet, in his role as a stand-up comedian, it is ironic that he is now playing the tragic role of a president of a country under siege. And yet, in this role, as President Zelensky, he has found his biggest audience, the people of the world.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут, голова Офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут.
His is the voice of defiance, a call from the heart that has gone out and firmed the defense of Ukraine against the forces of invasion. Volodymyr Zelinsky, the president of Ukraine, had everything wrong about being a wartime leader of a nation invaded. He's from Jewish stock in Eastern Europe with its history of anti-Semitism. His family spoke Russian. He grew up speaking the language of the invader. He says his family is second on the list, but that he and they will remain in Ukraine.
It's time to wrap up, viewers. That's it on this special coverage. But you keep watching India Today for all the unmatched coverage of the war.